What's up, everybody? It's me, Crosspatch. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers practice facility, and the subject of today's video is how to complete more passes and stop throwing so many interceptions in Madden 23, even on All-Madden difficulty. So I know this is a bit of a tough subject. A lot of people very frustrated with this year's game. Getting some comments here and there in some of my older videos. Passing on All-Madden is impossible. The way the defensive backs act like Superman, getting to footballs they shouldn't be able to get to, all the other wonkiness in the game. And all of that has kind of been true always on All-Madden, but it's worse than ever in this year's game. And very frustrating, I know. So I'm going to show you a few things in this video that hopefully will help you out. And one concept in particular that if you can get good at it, you will be moving the ball up and down the field and wondering why you ever worried about it. So, let's get to it. What is this mysterious concept I speak of? Real simple, it's verticals. Verticals are a killer in this year's game. And you probably, whatever playbook you use, you have a bunch of plays called verticals in it. But we're going to be looking at one specific kind of verticals, and I'm going to call it up here. We want plays that look like this. Okay, so we've got trips to one side of the field. Those three receivers, we call that trips. You probably already knew that, but for those who didn't, not bunch. We don't want bunch over there. We want them spread out like we have here. And I like to call this play with the ball spotted on the opposite hash mark of where those receivers are, those three receivers. So that gives us those trips to the wide side of the field. Ball spotted on the right hash mark here. Wide side of the field is to the left. That just makes it a little bit easier. Spreads those guys out a little more. Spreads the defenders out a little more. And makes our lives just a little simpler when it comes to fitting the ball in. So, and the other side of the field, for it to be a legal formation, we're going to need at least one receiver. Doesn't matter if it's a tight end, a split end, whatever. In this case, we have twins. That's fine. But, at least one receiver you're going to have over there, and that's important. So, what makes this play better than just general verticals with guys going straight down the field? Well, from left to right, we have a guy running a 9 route. The square. The guy in the slot there is a halfback. He's running basically a 9 route. It's a little bend to it. But most importantly, this guy on the inside, the X, is running like this skinny post kind of thing that takes him down the center of the field. So this means no matter what zone coverage we see, one of these guys is going to be potentially open, whether it's cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4. The only thing this is not good against is any kind of cover 1 or man coverage. But we're going to fix that right now. We're going to hot route one of these guys on the right. And it doesn't matter who it is. The easiest guy in this situation with this play is just the tight end in the slot. We're going to hot route him to run a drag. So this accomplishes 3 things. First of all, if we do get man coverage, drags and crossing routes are generally really good against man coverage. A little bit tougher in this year's game. They've kind of tightened it up a little bit, but still you should be able to get them open, at least for a short gain, even a 4 or 5 yard gain. Better than taking a sack, better than throwing an interception. The other thing it does, speaking of interceptions, it gives us another option. One of the mistakes I think a lot of inexperienced players make is they call plays and they just run them as they're called. And in this case, if this R1 here was running that hook and we had man coverage, we'd have nowhere to go with the football unless one of our outside guys was able to win and get deep. So we would be in a situation where we're flinging the ball downfield, hopefully, or we're trying to fit it into a receiver who has a defender all over him who's running a hook route. None of that is good, and all of that is a recipe for throwing an interception. So we don't want to throw interceptions. We want to give ourselves a better chance, and that better chance is the drag route. So always, always have another option in your plays, so that everything else goes awry. You can dump it to some other guy, and avoid throwing a reckless pass downfield, hoping for something that's probably not going to happen and ends up in an interception. So the third thing this will do for us is, even if that we get a zone, if I don't like what I see downfield, what happens typically is these receivers on the left even in a zone, will draw their defenders downfield with them. And that's going to make a big open area, a big dead spot, right underneath for this tight end to run into and catch the ball and cut upfield for a 10 or 12 yard gain. So that's why we want to call the drag here. We want to make sure we have other options besides getting the ball downfield. So with that little change, this becomes like a Swiss Army knife kind of play, right? We have options for anything we come across, almost anything. Tampa 2 is a little tough. We need to look to an outside receiver, like a guy underneath, but otherwise pretty much we're okay. And but we have some choices to make. That's the problem we face now. All of these guys are a potential receiver, no matter what we come across here. Or I should say, dependent on what we come across. So how do we decide who we throw the ball to? Another mistake that I think inexperienced players make is they call a play, they snap the ball, and they just hope that a receiver jumps off the screen and says, hey, I'm open. And you can't do it that way. You have to have a progression in mind when you snap the ball. And the way we decide who we might want to go to is by making some reads when we come up to the line. So we're going to make two kinds of reads. We're going to make a pre-snap read when we come up to the line, and we're going to make a post-snap read once the play gets underway. So with our pre-snap read, we're going to make it like right now when we're up to the line. We're going to take a look at the defense, and we're going to make an educated guess on what kind of coverage they're in and what we think they're going to do. We never want to make a decision based on our pre-snap read. And the reason for that is because defenses can disguise their intentions. So if you're playing against like a human person, they're probably going to do a really good job of disguising their defenses. The CPU does an okay job sometimes, but they still can do it. So you're not always going to get what you think you get. So the best thing you can do is just say, I think I can get this guy. He's my first look. This guy's my second look. This guy's my third look. And if the play doesn't unfold how you want it to unfold, you just go through that progression until you find an open guy. So that means you're going to have to learn to read defenses a little bit. And don't panic, it's not that hard. You can go through a lot of videos that are going to teach you some very in-depth stuff. And really just some basics are what you need to know to get started. And we're not going to do a crash course in reading defenses right now. But what I am going to do is we're going to start running some live plays. I'm going to tell you what I see and why I threw the ball where I threw it. And then we'll look at some instant replays and see if I was right or wrong. I mean, you're not always right. But, you just got to do the best you can. So up here on the line, we're going to make a pre-snap read. I see one high safety. I see my inside receivers matched up against inside defenders. I also see outside linebackers that look like they're going to blitz. So I think I got a blitz coming. And I am going to try to fit this over that linebacker's head to Johnson, depending on what he does. I'm not super hopeful that that's going to happen, so mostly I'm expecting I'm going to be going to the crosser on this. So this is my expectation of what's going to happen on this play. This is my educated guess. So here we go. Let's see what happens. And there's Johnson is open, but we missed him. So I'm going to point out that I'm using my Steelers in this. I was going to use the Packers or the Chiefs or something like that. But I wanted to show that even with a 68 overall rookie quarterback, you can do okay on some of this stuff. So once again, I see him like a high safety in the middle. I'm thinking man under, but I also see there might be a blitz coming from a safety there right in front of Harris. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if we can get Harris down the seam here, or else we're going to go underneath to the drag. And Harris actually doesn't. His defender doesn't blitz, but he did win that matchup, so we went to him. Let's see what that coverage was. So was this a cover 3 or was this man? I think this was man. I think this was man under. So we got a high safety. Yeah, so this was man under. So this was just an opportunity where a guy beat his guy off the ball, and we were able to fit the ball into him. So let's go again. We've got another single high safety here. The same kind of look. So this is probably man under again. And we'll see what happens. Nope, that's a... Let's see what that was. We had Harris wide open. We also had this guy open down the seam here. So whether this was a blown coverage by Witherspoon here, like I'm thinking this was... I think this was a cover 3 and he just didn't get where he was supposed to go. Because this guy shouldn't have been running alone down here. So I think our cover 3 read was okay on that one. And let me know in the comments if you're seeing something different. Like, this is all just a learning opportunity for everybody. I'm telling you what I see, but maybe you're seeing something different. I think this was a cover 3 and Witherspoon didn't get where he's supposed to go for some reason. He got distracted by this guy. So that happens, unfortunately. You know, good for us now, but bad if we're playing defense. So once again, I have a high safety. Once again, I have linebackers that look like they're going to blitz. So let's see what we got. And that I don't like. So we'll go underneath. Let's see what happened there. So we got a short gain. We didn't throw an interception. We didn't force it somewhere. So let's see what we got. This is once again a cover 3. I didn't like it too much, though. So this was an opportunity to get the ball to Harris. But this way the safety was fading over, I wasn't too thrilled with it. So we took that underneath to a Fryermuth instead. And see, yeah, this was the zone. So, you know, live to fight another day. That's not a bad choice. So it looks like we have a cover 4 look here. I'm going to try to get the ball into Johnson between these two defenders if I can. Between the two safeties. So cover 2 and cover 4, right? Both of them will see 2 high safeties like we have right here. The difference, I mean, again, you're guessing at the snap. If the safeties are a little bit wider, I'd be guessing cover 2. If they have like this umbrella look to them, with the corners kind of backed off a little bit, I'm going to guess cover 4. Either way, I'm going to hope to get a guy down the middle of the field here, if that linebacker lets me. So let's see what we get. And there he is. And we hit him. So let's take a look at it. That was a cover 4. And we got Johnson right between those two defenders. So you got to practice this a little bit. Like, go into practice mode and practice this stuff. So I'm reading this linebacker. Once he gives up on Johnson, that's when I'm throwing the ball. I got to make sure I put it over his head so I can hit Johnson right. And that wasn't a great throw. I should have thrown it a little further to the left there. But we fit it in. We got a nice gain. So once more, let's call one more play here, and then we'll go to a different play. So I've got defenders locked up here on the outside. I've got a 2 over the top. Once again, I'm going to look to Johnson down the middle. But I'm also going to look and see what these corners do. If this is a cover 2, I'm going to try to get Pickens on the outside. But let's see what happens. And it's not. So it's a man under. We're going to go underneath to Fryermuth. So we take what we can get. So that looked like a 2-man under. So let's call a different play. Oh, not instant replay. Choose new play. And we're going to go trips tight end flex. And once again, put the defense in a random thing. So, take a look at what we have here. It's the same kind of thing. We've got 3 receivers to the left. We've got 2 guys running 9 routes. We got the inside guy running like a post kind of thing, lazy post. And we've got our tight end, the X, running a drag route. So exactly what we want. We don't need to make any hot routes if we don't want to, but I'm going to hot route this R1, this halfback, to stay in and block. And that just gives us a little extra protection. He's kind of useless running that wheel route, so we'll leave him there. So I'm looking at this, the way these guys are set up. I'm thinking we've got a cover 3 here. And we'll see what happens at the snap. That's my guess. So let's go. Yep, there it is. So there's our wide receiver down the seam. Let's take a look at it. So we got the single high safety, a tip off to either cover 3, cover 1. We got this guy stepped up here, kind of backed off. He's not lined up against this tight end. He's stepped off a little bit. And we're going to look at this guy when we make our read. And if he turns and runs with this receiver, we know we've got man coverage, but he doesn't. He lets him go. And here's our wide receiver right down the seam on the cover 3. Super easy. Let's go again. So same look here. Let's see if we get the cover 3 again. Now, we could also try once again, depending on what these linebackers do, with the circle Pickens running this lazy post. We can maybe get it in the seam as he crosses the face of this safety. Let's see what happens. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go to him. A little bit of an ugly throw, but we got it into him. So our receiver... Remember we were looking at this guy before. We wanted to see if he could sneak past, or if the guy ran with him. He got jammed up, actually. So I don't think this guy wasn't going to run with him, but he got jammed up off the ball. So we're not going to look to him. We're going to, and we got Pickens running this lazy, this skinny post, gets across the face of the safety. I could have made a better throw. I don't know if I got hit when I threw, but we want to put it on him right there. He's right in the, just like there's a seam over here on a cover 3, there's a seam over here, and we can hit him right there. Well, terrible throw, but it could have been better. So let's run one more. Again, I'm looking. I think I've got a cover 3 here. Let's see if our slot on this on the left here can win. There he is. A terrible throw. Under pressure, bad throw by Kenny Pickett. Floats it. Let's try it again. Again, a cover 3 look. Kind of wish they'd give us a few more diverse looks. There he is down the seam. Better throw that time. So yeah, the Steelers have a bunch of plays like this. If you don't have them in your playbook, go ahead and load up the Steelers and see how you do. Here's another example. Defense and random play. So here's another example, same kind of play, different formation, and we got some weirdness going on the other side of the field here, so we're going to hot route our tight end to the run the drag. We're going to keep our halfback into block, and it looks like a cover 3 here, and we'll see what we get. And there it is. There's Johnson down the seam. So that's it. I hope you work on these concepts a little bit. Work on reading defenses. Kind of went through some basics here. Too high, you're going to be looking at cover 2 man under or cover 2 straight. If they're a little bit closer together, the safeties, the 2 high safeties, and you've got your cornerbacks backed off like an umbrella kind of thing, you're looking at a cover 4. Single high safety, you're thinking cover 3, cover 1. And there's other things like robber and Tampa 2 to be aware of, but a little bit of time spent in practice mode, working on reading these defenses. And again, if you want to watch some YouTube videos, there's a lot of really in-depth information on it. You don't need to go that crazy with it. Just learn to read the safeties over the top. Look at the guys underneath and see what they're doing. Make your post-snap read based on the actions of the defense, and always have a progression of receivers to go through, and an outlet guy if everything goes wrong. So if you can do those things, this is what I do in my franchise. You can watch my franchise games. This is all I do. And, I complete a lot of percentage of my passes, and I throw very few interceptions on All-Madden. So check it out. I hope it works for you. Good luck. If you think this helped you, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And I will see you next practice.